Hello, sir. Why the long face?
I'm looking for Silent Hill. I'm lost.
We're the smiling friend. Can help you.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Why the long face?
I'm looking for Silent Hill. I'm kind of lost.
We're the smiling friends. We can help you.
Okay. Let's go.
You have to do it, man. It's okay.
No! Oh my God!
Whoa.
If you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. I'm not kidding.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Oh, come on. That's nonsense, Charlie.
I think the biggest surprises are behind us. Dude, I warned you. I said I was gonna do that if you did that again.
Are you alright?
I think he's possessed, man, but don't worry. My uncle taught me exactly what to do in a situation like this. The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ!
Fart face!
God, it's not coming off! Ah! Oh my God, what the fuck? Our Father who art
James. Oh, James.
Charlie, this is a fake knife.
What?
Yeah, it's one of those plastic knives that retract, see?
Oh, my God.
It's a gag knife.
Okay, well, let's go back to the office. We just need you to sign some paperwork that says we failed to make you smile, and then you can, do what you gotta do and all that.
Okay.
...2025 was somewhat of a quiet year for PlayStation. Yes, we got the Game of the Year nominated Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, and Sucker Punch's exciting sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei, but aside from that, there wasn't really a lot of activity from Sony's first-party studios. Instead, you had to look to developers outside of Sony's stables, who thankfully kept the PS5 ticking over with an array of interesting games. Right at the back end of 2024, Infold launched the console-exclusive Infinity Nikki, and has been delighting stylists around the globe over the past 12 months, and smaller projects such as Sword of the Sea, Dispatch and Baby Steps have all been enjoyed on PlayStation 5. Of course, the fact that there weren't many console exclusives didn't mean there weren't a whole host of great games to play on our PS5s last year. Quite the opposite, in fact. Award sweeper Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the long-awaited Hollow Knight Silksong, and acclaimed RPG Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 led the third-party offerings. Plus, 2025 really was the year of Xbox going fully multi-platform with its library, as Forza Horizon 5, Gears of War Reloaded, and The Outer Worlds 2, to name just a few, all made their way to PlayStation. And that's showing no signs of slowing down in the coming year either, with a certain Master Chief set to grace a Sony console for the first time.
Give them hell, Chief.
The truth is, Sony has just been pretty quiet when it comes to exclusives of its own, with little new to shout about from a hardware perspective either. And that's before we even get into the problems Bungie, now a PlayStation studio remember, has faced with Marathon. So are things looking more exciting in 2026? Well, Marathon will certainly be hoping so, as it aims to combat PlayStation's recent live service travails. Let's dig into it, as well as everything else to expect from Sony this year.
Death's always waiting. Just not for me.
Heading into 2026, all eyes are on Logan, as Insomniac aims to bolster its long winning streak of Ratchet & Clank Spider-Man games by taking on another comic book hero. Marvel's Wolverine is currently penciled in for a late 2026 launch, although we'll have to see if those plans change at all due to a certain Rockstar game moving to a similar time frame. Whenever it does release though, we look to be in for a treat, if our first look at gameplay during September's State of Play is any indication. While much is still yet to be revealed about its story, story, we're eager to learn more and see just who else from the X-Men and the wider Marvel Universe will be popping into Logan's world. Mystique and Omega Red have already been confirmed, but surely Sabretooth is a must, as well as a cameo at the very least from either of Insomniac's Spideys, Peter Parker or Miles Morales. Which of the X-Men do you want to see most? As for PS5 exclusives that actually have release dates confirmed, there's only Saros, Neo 3 and Phantom Blade Zero. The former is Housemarque's follow-up to the acclaimed Returnal, and looks to be sitting in a similar mould of colourful, particle-filled, challenging shooter within an alien planet shell. Now arriving on April 30th after a slight delay, it will take players on an expedition to a lost colony as we step into the shoes of Raoul Coley's Arjun Devraj, and kill and die our way to uncovering its mysteries through its repeating roguelike structure. Neo 3 is a console exclusive for PlayStation, as it's also arriving on PC when it launches on February 6th. A chronological sequel to the events of the series' first game, Team Ninja is back with a fresh dose of its own brand of punishing Souls-like action in feudal Japan. Things are being shaken up this time though, thanks to the introduction of a ninja playstyle, which promises to control completely differently from the traditional samurai option. Trust a studio called Team Ninja, which is also responsible for the Ninja Gaiden series, to want to add ninjas to Neo. That's enough ninjas for one sentence, I think. Phantom Blade Zero is a hotly anticipated wuxia action RPG coming from Chinese developer S-Game. The lead character is called Soul, so you can probably guess what genre this project also borrows heavily from too. I can confirm this myself after briefly going hands-on with it at Gamescom 2025, and I found that there is indeed plenty of punishing combat with a complex skill set to master. But there are other action game influences too, so the combat tempo is much higher than in your typical Souls-like. Up for some punishment? Well, you'll have to hold on a little longer yet, as Phantom Blade Zero will be released on September 9th. Now onto the stuff we're led to believe will be coming in 2026, we just don't know when yet. First up is Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, the new superhero fighting game from Guilty Gear developer Arc System Works. A uniquely stylized interpretation of the Marvel universe, it looks set to be a real contender in the fighting game community, if its recent closed betas are anything to go by. Freshly revealed at the Game Awards, 4 Loop is a new co-op shooter from Left 4 Dead creator Mike Booth and Bad Robot Games, the video game wing of film director J.J. Abrams' production company. A PS5 and PC exclusive, it seems to infuse some roguelike elements with a sprinkling of Helldivers and Left 4 Dead. No release date has been given yet, but playtesting will start soon. Then we have Marathon, the new extraction shooter from Destiny developer Bungie, which was initially meant to arrive in 2025, but had a rough year to say the least. Delayed into this year and now coming out in March, the studio will be hoping for a big comeback story this year and buck the trend of recently failed Sony live service shooter offerings such as Concord. Instead, it'll be looking to the likes of the wildly successful Arc Raiders and PlayStation's very own Helldivers 2 for a template to follow. Shooter pedigree doesn't come much stronger than Bungie though, so let's hope it can turn around those initial impressions.
The dream is not over.
Speaking of live service shooters, Fair Games is reportedly still in development at Haven Studios, despite the departure of its founder Jade Raymond in May of 2025, and even more recently, the game's creative director Daniel Drapeau leaving in September. With still no gameplay to be seen and no sign of a release date for this competitive heist shooter, serious questions now have to be raised about whether it will ever see the light of day. Laser swords more your cup of tea? Well, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet may be the one for you. We're very much dreaming if we think this is coming any earlier than 2027, but hopefully we get a good look at gameplay for Naughty Dog's new sci-fi game over the next 12 months. Expectations are naturally high from one of Sony's most beloved developers though, with creator Neil Druckmann calling it the most ambitious game they've ever made. But what about all of those other PlayStation studios cooking up exclusives? Well, Guerrilla may not be developing the recently revealed mobile MMORPG Horizon Still Frontiers itself, but has been recruiting for its own multiplayer entry into Aloy's universe. Could we see that in 2026? What about Santa Monica's next project? Is it finally time to see what Cory Barlog's mystery game is if a new God of War isn't imminent? All good questions, none of which I have the answers for.
What's your name?
Jason Duval.
I seen you here before.
You might have.
Another look to the year ahead in games, and another opportunity for me to say how excited I am for GTA 6. Surely after its most recent delay to November, 2026 is the year we finally get our hands on the latest Grand Theft Auto. Please Rockstar, don't do it to us again. Our loss is a bunch of games gain though, with spring opening up wide for a fair few to fill that GTA shaped void. These include Capcom's latest entry into its legendary horror series Resident Rockstar, Don't do it to us again. Our loss is a bunch of games gain though, with spring opening up wide for a fair few to fill that GTA-shaped void. These include Capcom's latest entry into its legendary horror series Resident Evil Requiem, and IO Interactive's first non-Hitman project in a long time, James Bond adventure 007 First Light. Plus, Pearl Abyss's expansive open-world action of Crimson Desert will be soaring onto consoles and PC in March as well. LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is looking to pick up where Rocksteady's Arkham trilogy left off and infuse its satisfying melee combat with that indelible minifig charm when it launches on May 29th. But so much of 2026 remains uncertain, likely largely due to GTA shifting around more than James Brown did on stage in the 70s. Let's start with some multi-platform games we are pretty confident are coming this year, before moving on to ones that will likely remain rooted in our dreams. Yes, Master Chief will soon be controlled by a DualSense. Halo Campaign Evolved is heading to the PS5 in 2026, as Microsoft continues to unleash its library onto other platforms. This Unreal 5 engine remake of the 2001 Xbox classic could prove the spectre at the feast for Bungie, the original developers of Halo Combat Evolved, if its own marathon launch doesn't go as planned. At least it won't be competing in the multiplayer market, as this new edition of Halo only includes the story campaign. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra recently shifted out of its original window of early 2026 to beyond early 2026, so your guess is as good as mine. As to when we'll be playing Amy Hennig's Captain America and Black Panther in World War II story. Legendary PlayStation hero Lara Croft will be returning in a reimagining of her original game titled Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis. And Finnish developer Remedy is back with another entry in its connected universe, Control Resonant. Also announced at the Game Awards was the pleasantly surprising Star Wars Galactic Racer from the makers of Burnout and Need for Speed that is scheduled to drop sometime in 2026.
Now this is pod racing.
Capcom is also set for a big year outside of Resident Evil, with Onimusha Way of the Sword and Pragmata both set to hit. As was the way in 2025, 2026 also looks set to keep you happy if you're a fan of katanas and unnerving robots. As it will for vampire fans too, with the Blood of Dawnwalker looking really promising thanks to a non-linear narrative and sandbox-like structure crafted by a team led by former Witcher 3 devs. Then there's Mixtape, a game I have added to this list as one of my personally most anticipated of 2026. The Sophomore project from the Artful Escape studio Beethoven and Dinosaur, this 80s inspired coming of age adventure is definitely one to keep on your radar. Is 2026 finally the year we get to play a new Ken Levine game? The Bioshock creator hasn't given us one since 2013's Infinite, and Judas has been in development for a long time now. Let's hope this is the year, because it's something I need in my life. As is The Witcher 4, but even I'm not foolish enough to believe that CD Projekt Red's Siri-led RPG is coming anytime soon. But feel free to surprise me, I'd love that. We're not necessarily expecting any big hardware splashes this year, with the next console generations theoretically not due until late 2027 at the earliest. Sony tech wizard and, most importantly, creator of Knack, did recently discuss new graphics capabilities which sparked PlayStation 6 speculation into overdrive. It's still likely a couple of years away at least.
Results are quite promising, and I'm really excited about bringing them to a future console in a few years' time.
Rumours are also abound of a new PlayStation handheld, after suggestions were made over the past summer that Sony could even be following Nintendo's blueprint for the Switch and turning the PS6 into a hybrid home and portable console. Of course, this is all just wild speculation, but with powerful hardware only reducing in size and cloud capabilities ever growing, it doesn't feel like too much of AMD, which sparked PlayStation 6 speculation into at the earliest. Sony tech wizard and foolish enough to believe that CD Projekt Red's Siri of age adventure is definitely one to keep on your radar. Is 2026 finally the year we get to play a new Ken Levine game? The Bioshock creator hasn't given us one since 2013's Infinite, and Judas has been in development for a long time now. Let's hope this is the year, because it's something I need in my life. As is The Witcher 4, but even I'm not foolish enough to believe that CD Projekt Red's Siri-led RPG is coming anytime soon. But feel free to surprise me, I'd love that. We're not necessarily expecting any big hardware splashes this year, with the next console generations theoretically not due until late 2027 at the earliest. Sony tech wizard and, most importantly, creator of Knack, Mark Cerny, did recently discuss new graphics capabilities in a discussion with AMD, which sparked PlayStation 6 speculation into overdrive, but it's still likely a couple of years away at least.
Results are quite promising, and I'm really excited about bringing them to a future console in a few years' time.
Rumours are also abound of a new PlayStation handheld, after suggestions were made over the past summer that Sony could even be following Nintendo's blueprint for the Switch and turning the PS6 into a hybrid home and portable console. Of course, this is all just wild speculation, but with powerful hardware only reducing in size and cloud capabilities ever growing, it doesn't feel like too much of a stretch to imagine. As I said though, we're still quite a way off hearing anything concrete in regards to the future of PlayStation hardware. And that's everything we know, along with a few guesses thrown in about what to expect from PlayStation in 2026. What games are you most excited for this year? Let us know in the comments below. And for everything else throughout 2026, keep it locked to IGN.
These are the 5 most catastrophic AMAs in Reddit history, and coming in at number 5 is Morgan Freeman's, which nobody expected would become such a nightmare. It simply read, "Hi, I'm Morgan Freeman, and my new movie Oblivion is in theaters and IMAX April 19th. Ask me anything." Although given it was posted from an account called u/Oblivion Movie, it was obvious that the post was nothing more than an advertisement, which irritated the audience immediately. The press agent vibe is strong with this one. This is almost definitely a marketing team. I mean, come on, the username is Oblivion Movie, only made worse when Morgan Freeman began to answer questions, missing no chance to insincerely promote the film. What is the best movie ever in your opinion? There are 3 in my opinion. The original Moulin Rouge, Anna, Life of Pi, and Oblivion, which was downvoted by over 100 people. When asked a different question reading, "I feel like you're more of a villain than usual in Oblivion, is that fair to say, and is it fun to play the bad guys sometimes?" Morgan Freeman ignored the question altogether and simply wrote "see the movie," which would mark the first of many answers that didn't really make sense. If you could have had any role in a movie that went to a different actor, what would it be and why? I do not have a favorite actor. I've worked with the best in the business and don't pick favorites of that. Playing God is like falling off a log. There's nothing to follow but the script, which for obvious reasons confused the person who'd asked. Freeman was then questioned, "You've played all sorts of contrasting roles, from a lowly prisoner to God himself. Which roles are easier? Which ones are more fun?" To which he'd respond, "They are all easy. The most fun are the ones that pay the most," which was then reinforced during another question reading, "What kind of roles do you enjoy playing the most and favorite one yet?" where he'd again respond with "ones that pay." There's a good chance that these were simply poor attempts at comedy, but even then they were still more interesting than some of his other terrible responses. What has been your goal in life? To be in the movies. How do you prepare for the powerful roles you play in your films? I just learned the script. What's going out in public like for you? Like, what do people ask you when they see you on the street? A chore. With his responses being so generic, people began to speculate on whether or not it was even him answering. Am I really the only person that doesn't think this is Morgan Freeman? His answers are short, undescriptive, sometimes inaccurate, and full of grammatical errors. Plus, he hasn't given any proof. I look through all the comments and I don't see anyone giving a shit. Am I really the only one here? Leading Morgan Freeman to prove that it was in fact him by uploading a photo of him sleeping on a couch with what seemed to have been a Photoshop piece of paper lying on his chest. This is not proof. The photo looks incredibly photoshopped. There is no way this rudimentary image could act as any form of proof, while a YouTuber named Southern Graphics Guru uploaded a video titled "Morgan Freeman's Reddit AMA was a fraud proof," in which he'd state the following.
It's photoshopped and this ain't really Morgan Freeman, I can prove it. Alright, we'll invert it. That look like part of the same image. Look at all this stuff here and then look at that. Look how different. Alright, so that's fake.
Southern Graphics Guru uploaded a video titled "Morgan Freeman's Reddit AMA was a fraud proof," in which he'd state the following.
It's photoshopped and this ain't really Morgan Freeman, I can prove it. Alright, we'll invert it. That look like part of the same image. Look at all this stuff here and then look at that. Look how different. Alright, so that's fake.
The basic video received almost 1 million views, although it failed to convince those who had a more realistic approach. I think Reddit has always had an unwarranted high regard for Morgan Freeman, and now you would all prefer to call this a fake than realize he's just boring, while another comment highlighted that Morgan Freeman was uninteresting in every interview he did. For example, The Guardian gave Morgan Freeman the nickname Mr. Monosyllabic and explained Morgan Freeman doesn't want to talk about money, drugs, the war, his friend Colin Powell, or even his new movie. In fact, he may be the most difficult subject our interviewer has ever come across, with the hysteria becoming so intense that the AMA admins had to intervene. They'd state this was set up by the publicity team from the film studio for Oblivion. We were told Morgan Freeman would be answering the questions for the AMA himself, with someone in the room typing what he said, and we believe this to be the case. This was then followed by an update at the bottom of the page reading, "I've spoken to Mr. Freeman/Oblivion's PR team, and they have stated in no uncertain terms that all of the answers in the AMA were his words, and that the picture was legitimate and not doctored, although it's not like this fixed what had already gone down." This was the most disappointing AMA I've ever seen. The person couldn't be more scripted and bland. Either Morgan Freeman is not who he thought he was, or this is a huge PR move which is ridiculously unnecessary, although at least Morgan Freeman escaped with some of his reputation left, as Steven Seagal's AMA damn near buried him. For a bit of context, Steven Seagal has been called the most hated man in Hollywood, and therefore doing an AMA was a bit of a death wish. Seagal took the risk anyway with the goal of promoting a movie, although it seemed this person was much more fascinating by Seagal's upbringing. Hey there, I went to the same junior high school as you in Fullerton, CA many years later. Heard some stories. The one I would like to ask you about is when your social studies teacher caught you stealing lunch money from a kid in a wheelchair, true, I didn't make this up, while a different user wanted to know more about Seagal's filming process. Is it true you insist on blocking many scenes so you can be sitting the whole time because you're too lazy to stand up? Is it true you insist that productions hire someone to hold a car to properly shadow your horrific neck fat? Is it true you're an unbearable dick who bullies everyone on set and acts like you're an A-list star, even though you're starring in a shitty C-list movie? The comments continue to run through every controversy you can think of, although for obvious reasons he answered none of them, and instead provided brief answers to a couple of less popular questions, such as how many pets he has. Meanwhile, he was asked Rampart was the most difficult. Out of all the roles you played, which has been the most rewarding, most difficult, and most fun? Can I say Rampart? It really took over my life for a while. I wouldn't say fun is the operative word. To make matters worse, Woody gave the audience only 15 minutes of time, answering 15 questions in total, of which only 2 had more upvotes than downvotes. In the meantime, Rampart's director was doing his own AMA, where all of the top questions referenced the actor, such as, has Woody lost his mind? You might want to do some damage control. You seem like a pretty normal down-to-earth guy, but Woody or his PR bimbo really screwed the pooch on this one. Might have cost you a lot of money due to lost fans, yet this isn't the only place that Woody Harrelson's AMA has been mentioned in. In fact, in every single AMA we've talked about in this video, there are comments referencing Rampart. It's a word snuck into that whatever the person is reading is now officially a failure. However, that's not to say that Woody Harrelson meant for any of this to happen. When asked, did you know about Reddit before today, Woody responded by stating, I know Oren Moverman did an interview here. I did just learn about it, so I'm trying, with Woody's blindness to the platform and format likely playing a role in accidentally producing the worst AMA of all time.
See, Tyler had a problem. There was this guy talking crazy about him all
I am so thirsty right now. I hope there's something good over here. Oh, bet water. Let's go. Whoa, is that a lightsaber?
Did someone say lightsaber? You got a lightsaber?
Somebody say a lightsaber?
I've never watched Star Wars before, but I heard that the color corresponds to who you are as a person.
Yo, let's see what color I
Be careful, be careful, it's dangerous.
Yo, what does that mean? It probably means like when I get mad, all I see is red, so you don't want to mess with me when I'm mad.
Let me try.
Bro, let's watch out.
Yo! Yes, a green card!
It's not illegal anymore!
Hey!
Michael, let me go. No, I didn't go yet. Let me go.
Gosh, we're probably gonna get something cool like black.
Oh yeah, probably, we'll see.
Hey man, we didn't know this about you.
What?
It's okay, man. We support you.
Who's we? What?
There's nothing to be ashamed of.
There isn't?
You should have told us sooner.
What are you guys talking about?
We know you are gay!
Well, you guys think that just because I got a rainbow color it means I'm gay?
Yeah.
Yo, I'm not gay! I'm not gay! Wait, he didn't go yet! No, he still ain't go!
He's right, you haven't gone yet.
Nah, I'm good. Nah, you take it. It's your turn, you have to do it. You don't have to do it. Go!
It's your turn.
Take it!
I don't even know why you guys want me to do this, but whatever.
What? How did that happen? What is this? Thing's broken. See, he's gay. He's gay too.
No,
he's gay.
no.
I mean, not me. Just him. Just him. No, I'm not gay. Nah. Ew, get away. Get back. Get back.
I deserve the sword.
Yo! I knew it.
I'm the only one who deserves this. I knew all y'all were sus from the beginning.
He's gay too. He's gay too. He's gay too. That's him. That's him. Oh my. He's the gay one. He's the gay one. I knew it.
Guys.
Does it really matter?
Yo, what's that?
It's the remote.
The remote's in the living room.
You know what, guys? I think he's right.
Hey, what's that?
It's the remote.
Isn't the remote in the living room? You know, guys? He's right.
Yo, what's that?
It's the remote.
You know what, guys? I think he's right.
Oh, what's that?
It's the remote.
Technically, that makes this the final resting place of the creeper himself, the monster. The real life monster. It's just wild to think about. Say that we know that song from the movie Jeepers Creepers, and honest to goodness, it's probably one of the most terrible terrifying songs you can ever hear. And what makes it even more terrifying is that Jeepers Creepers, at least the beginning of the movie, is actually based on a real crime that happened in Michigan. Today, we're going to be tracking down the crime scenes that inspired the horror film Jeepers Creepers. If you've seen the movie Jeepers Creepers, everything you're about to see and hear is going to sound and look strangely familiar, like eerily familiar. Now, I should point out that at no time did the creator of the movie ever state that he pulled inspiration from this crime. But as we talk about it, you're going to go, wait a second. He might as well have lifted the events straight from real life and put them on screen. We think the best way to tell this story is actually from inside the car, driving down the road to where the crime happened in real life. Now, in order to do this, we have a couple cameras. We have this one right here, and then we have this camera. You can see Jessica sitting right next to me. Now, this is important because in the movie Jeepers Creepers, brother and sister Trish and Derry are driving down a road very similar to the one that we're driving down right now. It's like farm country. And they encounter this truck that practically runs them off the road. And the license plate, it becomes like the joke of the movie, says, "Be eating you" or "beating you." And it kind of makes them a little unnerved. Even more so, a little further down the road, they come to this abandoned building and they see the truck and they see this figure trying to dispose of something, like a sheet covered in blood behind the building, and it freaks them out. That's the start of the movie Jeepers Creepers, the movie. In real life, however, it wasn't brother and sister. It was a married couple, Ray and Marie Thornton. They were driving down a road known as Snow Prairie Road. They're actually heading south. And just like in the movie, a truck comes up behind them. It's like this brown, dirty, decrepit looking van, and it almost runs them off the road.
We were driving south on Snow Prairie Road, and all of a sudden a van just on us and passed.
Jeez, you must be in a hurry.
And they see the license plate, and the wife, Marie, she takes notice of the license plate, and it says GZ and something else, and she goes, geez, that car was moving fast or something like that. They're a little unnerved, but the car speeds off, and eventually they come across the van again. This time, they come across a creepy looking building, that one right there. And in the back, they see somebody with a white sheet that looks to be drenched in blood. And as they slow down and pass the school, they're still looking back. They notice that the van is parked right there.
Man, there's a bloody sheet. Where? He's behind the building. There's the van that passed us.
Where?
It's right there.
There was one that passed us?
Yes, I'm sure it was. It's the van that passed us.
They make it about 2 miles down the road when they notice that the van is back. Now it's right on their tail, riding their bumper, and they can see it clear as day in the rearview mirror, but they don't get a good look at who's driving. Instead, they note that he's wearing like a white cap, like a white hat. At this point, they realize that whatever's happening is really no good, so they try to write down the license plate to turn it into the authorities. And then they turn down a road just like this. It's like a dirt road. Now it's important to note, while this is all going on, they never left their car. But they make it down and they turn around because they want to go and get a better look at the license plate. Even more so, go see what this unknown figure was trying to stuff down a hole behind the old abandoned building. So they decided to turn around and drive up there to get a closer look. And when they do this, the story gets even darker.
He was behind his van with the passenger front door open.
You seen the numbers on that plate he just
And
put up?
I saw that the passenger door was covered with blood.
There's blood all over that door.
What door?
The passenger door.
That guy has done something.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I would have come across something like this, and Jessica agrees with me, we probably would have hightailed it out of here. Went straight to the police. Not them. Even after they noticed that the passenger side door is open, and on the interior, like inside the car and on the door, they can see blood. What do? They head back to the abandoned building, back to the schoolhouse to see what this guy was trying to get rid of. And that brings us back to the schoolhouse. I'm honestly surprised that this building is still standing. The movie and the real life crime are so eerily similar, so hauntingly similar, it makes your head spin. I mean, up at this point, I purposely have not said the name of the killer and the victim because I wanted you guys to go, wait a second, this reminds me so much of the movie. Is he talking about the movie or is he talking about the real crime? Now, I know in the movie, a big part of it ends at a school when Derry is taken through the window by the creeper, by the creature. That didn't happen in real life. In fact, none of the crime actually took place inside this school behind these walls. It's all behind the building. We're going to show that in just a moment. But it's just crazy to think that it's so close. What the Thorntons didn't realize is that they were witnessing the aftermath of a murder that happened earlier that day, where a man by the name of Dennis Depew murdered his ex-wife Marilyn and was trying to dispose or dump of evidence, like a sheet covered in blood, behind this abandoned school. Something else we want to point out, everything that we're talking about, all that we know about this case is because of unsolved mysteries. So these events happened April 15th, 1990, and then it aired on Unsolved Mysteries, and that's how the killer was caught. Now, I don't know if you know this, but for some reason, Unsolved Mysteries really likes to film their dramatizations where the actual crimes have happened. We know this because this is not the first video we've ever done based on an Unsolved Mysteries case. There was one in Florida. Now, the Thorntons did not know that the van that they saw parked over here belonged to Dennis Depew, and that's probably, more than likely, where Marilyn was killed. But this is not where the sheet was. So right where Jessica is, that's where there used to be like this old oil tank there. And then right where you see all the, like that walkway in the grass, that's where, but all the way on the other side, towards the back, is where we are headed. This is pretty wild. A couple years ago, if you remember correctly, Baby Goal, we did the filming locations to the movie Jeepers Creepers. We've done other inspiration stories for horror movies like Scream and The Hills Have Eyes. Never in a million years did I ever think that we'd be doing the inspiration for Jeepers Creepers, well, the opening scenes. So right back here, back whenever they made the episode for Unsolved Mysteries, there was a fence here. And then towards the very back is where Dennis Depew was seen trying to dispose of the bloody sheet. If you look off in the distance, you can see that white farmhouse. It runs right along Snow Prairie Road. Right now we're looking north. So the Thorntons were driving south, which would have been from left to right. And then passing this field, looking over this way towards where I'm standing, they would have saw somebody trying to get rid of something white, covered in red. And if I back up, you can see the schoolhouse. Wild, right? And you know what? I mean, this happened, what, 1990? And it really is just kind of like out in the middle of nowhere. It's peaceful. So right back here, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the wind coming across the grass, it's actually quite nice. So you can kind of see, like there's that concrete pylon or whatever you want to call it. It looks like at one point there was a fence. You can see some of the iron rivets. So somewhere back in here, is where he was trying to stuff the sheet.
That wind is crazy. You know, it was always strange to me that it seemed he had some foreknowledge of an animal hole here. But I think maybe he was just driving around frantically trying to dispose of evidence and came across the abandoned school and thought, this could be where I do it.
Like he saw like some wooded area behind something like, you know, abandoned, like you were saying.
We are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, there's just nothing around. I'm gonna pan the camera around for a little bit. I mean, we're at an intersection, there are cars, but nobody's stopping. It's just kind of like, they're there and then they're gone.
Especially back when it would have happened, I imagine that there was probably less traffic. Just neighbors, farms. No longer a community because the school's closed, so no more children. Or at least they've grown up.
Now, of course, I highly recommend that you watch the Unsolved Mysteries episode. It is on YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the description of this video. It talks a little bit more about the crime. Basically, Dennis Depew, he assumed a different identity, moved was in a different relationship, left behind his kids and everybody. And like I said, it aired on Unsolved Mysteries, good old Robert Stack. And he saw it and he decided to leave. And by then, his then girlfriend's family called the police, like basically turned him in. And he just kind of like hit the road and he died in a shootout. Well, I rephrase that. He did not die in a shootout. He shot himself. But I do believe the police were shooting at him. I think he died in Mississippi or something like that. He's buried here, not too far from where we are right now. And Marilyn, she's a little further away. We're gonna visit both of their graves in just a moment. It's just something haunting about being here. It should be noted that there is no trespassing inside this building. There are signs, and a lot of the windows have been boarded up. There's some graffiti, like this one here says, "Enter Hell." We're not going in. Being that the owner of this place obviously does not like people coming in, getting inside the building. It is for sale. So if you want to buy this place, and you can turn it into a home if you want to live where in the backyard a very famous, unintentionally famous crime happened. There definitely has been people breaking into this place. We didn't do this. We're not going in, like I said. The crime didn't happen here. We can put the camera inside. I can imagine whoever buys this place, again, it is for sale. You have a lot of work to do, but talk about a dark history, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love doing filming location videos, but I think what I love the most is doing the videos that inspired some of the movies that have terrified us. Now, I know I already said a few, but now that we've done this one, the inspiration for Jeepers Creepers, we did the inspiration for The Exorcist, Jaws, The Hills Have Eyes. I know there's more out there. We have like over 1,000 videos. But it's just one of those things that you never think that you're ever going to get the chance to do. And then when you have the movie that just kind of terrifies you, and then you're where it really happened. This is a whole new level.
Don't forget, we did also Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Scream.
That's right. Danny Rolling, who's buried at a prison cemetery in Florida, who inspired Scream, and Ed Gein, who inspired the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm watching spiders.
We now find ourselves at a place known as Eagle Cemetery, which is basically a small cemetery in the middle of nowhere. But this is where you'll find the final resting place of Dennis Depew. Or I guess you can even go as far as saying the final resting place, the grave of the creeper himself. Now, I wasn't really expecting this, but Dennis Depew is actually buried with his family. It's like a family plot over here. It says right there at about the center of your screen. Depew, Dennis H., 1943 to 1991. And like I said, his family here. Now Marilyn, she's not here, his ex-wife. She's somewhere completely different, and understandably so. I know the movie Jeepers Creepers is a horror film, it's a work of fiction, but knowing that at least part of it, the opening scenes, what's really memorable about the movie is based off of an actual crime, an actual person who murdered his ex-wife. Technically, that makes this the final resting place of the creeper himself, the monster, the real life monster. It's just wild to think about. Now this is a nice surprise. We drove all the way up here to visit the final resting place of Marilyn, knowing full well that she was in an unmarked grave, that there was no tombstone. And in an effort to try to make our trip here a lot easier, to try to pinpoint exactly where she is, we talked to the main office on the phone, and they were kind enough to send me a map and the exact plot of where to look, with the warning that this place is pretty massive and it's kind of like a labyrinth once you get up here, especially with an unmarked grave. So we got here just as they were closing. The last person in the cemetery was leaving, and she was kind enough to walk us up here to visit Marilyn. And we get up here, and it turns out that Marilyn's grave, her final resting place, isn't unmarked at all. It's been buried to time. We were led to the far back side of the cemetery. I'm talking furthest point you can go, like in the very, very back. We get out of the car and we walk over to the tree line, and we start trying to move the grass and leaves with our feet to find the marker that says, hey, you're in the right section. And as you can tell, that too was sunken in and covered with leaves and twigs and what have you not, but 262A is what we were looking for. All three of us were over here against this tree line trying to figure out where exactly the plot that Marilyn would have been. And our guide, she actually notices that there's this flat spot underneath all of the dead leaves, and she moves it away, and wouldn't you know, right there, Marilyn Lee McClenahan. Now that is Marilyn's maiden name. She does not have Dennis's last name. January 24th, 1942 to April 15th, 1990. It's beautiful. Loving mother. When we first walked over here, it was completely covered. You could not see it in any way, shape, or form. And truth be told, before we turned on the camera, we did clean it off quite a bit, and we're gonna finish doing that. But what's really amazing and beyond beautiful, our guide said that she's going to put in a work order to have the tombstone actually raised out of the ground, so it should not be buried anymore. I love it. Please believe me when I tell you, all three of us had goosebumps when we realized that this was buried, not only underneath the grass and dead leaves and twigs and trees and weeds, but this tree has fallen over. So it's nice that it's going to be raised. It's going to get cleaned up. And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another grim adventure, this time telling the story of Marilyn and Dennis, the inspiration for a horror movie that we all know all too well, a movie called Jeepers Creepers. Until next time, happy
Prepare yourselves. It's time we tell the tale of Crystal Lake's masked murderer, Jason Voorhees.
And the horrifying boogeyman of Haddonfield, Michael Myers.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to bring terror and fright on this Halloween night on Death Battle.
Within the woods of Crystal Lake lurks a killer, buried. But not dead, doomed to rise from the grave and slaughter those who live and love, if you know what I mean.
This is the curse of Jason Voorhees.
Rumor has it he was a deformed child, bullied and harassed all of his life, only cared for by his single mother. But not even Mama Voorhees could save Jason when he tragically drowned at Camp Crystal Lake. Or did he?
Over time, Crystal Lake became wrought with strange disappearances and violent deaths.
Including the camp counselors who should have been watching Jason when he drowned all those years ago. Someone, or something, ... was out for vengeance.
And yet these harrowing murders were committed by none other than Jason's own mother, Pamela Voorhees, seeking revenge against those who neglected her child, dooming him to his terrible end.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Good for her, I guess.
However, even after her killing spree was cut short, the deaths continued. Nobody could prove it, but maybe, just maybe, Jason was still alive.
Holy shit! Yeah, he's definitely alive. Wait, has he been living in the lake this whole time?
Jason has fortitude far beyond any normal man. You can swing an axe in his face, blast half his body away, or trap him in an exploding building. Yet it will all be in vain.
Even when one of the few survivors of his attacks hacked him to pieces, Jason rose again. Seriously, this happens a lot.
Nobody knows the true source of his unkillable nature. Some say it's an indigenous curse, others say it's the Necronomicon, and some even say it's a hell worm. So, not too many reasonable answers.
Either way, be careful, or you just might end up on the wrong side of Jason's trusty machete, something he uses with enough strength to split skulls and pierce metal.
Even when Jason has no weapon, he can be resourceful and oddly creative with his kills. He might bludgeon you to death with a sleeping bag, a garbage can, or snap you in half between a bedfold.
Worst of all, this demented mama's boy will always get his prey. Oh, you think you can run away? Well, think again, idiot. He can teleport.
No, he can't.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about the time he appeared in multiple places at once around this dance floor? See? Teleporting.
Wrong. Hallucinations resulting from a mix of cocaine and panic.
Okay, smartass. How about when he teleported from one end of this ship to another? How'd he get there?
Actually, when watching the full scene for complete context, there is plenty of time afforded for Jason to jump down the deck while off camera. He is quite athletic after all.
What, without making any sound? The guy's built like he's made of 100 brick houses. Are we watching the same movie?
Look, fans have argued this for years, and while admittedly those moments are questionable, they're not enough to prove actual teleportation.
Okay, how about this one? In Jason X, where 3 soldiers are shooting him straight on, and he just disappears. Poof! Gone! While they're looking right at him, goddammit, it's teleporting!
Well, I'm sure there's a logical explanation.
I just stared at this scene while processing 900 trillion frames per second, and Boomstick is correct.
Ha!
Also, now my eyes are broken. Joy.
You know, Jason can actually teleport in the video game, so I believe it.
I suppose teleporting would explain how, despite his hulking size, Jason can move with ghostly silence and pick off victims one by one. Are you sure about this, dummy? Dummy? Either way, Jason's unstoppable bloodlust makes him a horrifying threat.
Even if you think you're protected by a foot of solid steel, he'll just crash through it to stab you.
And though it's tough to believe, there may actually be a deadlier Jason out there too.
Stronger, faster, and campier. This is Uber Jason, rebuilt from Jason's remains through a sinister fusion of science and mysticism. And guess what? Normal Jason later fought Uber Jason and actually held his own. Yeah, the comics get kinda wacky, just go with it.
Only natural for a monster that has fought other supernatural entities.
Like Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, and the groovy man himself, Ash Williams.
Indeed. So be warned, if you ever see a shadow moving through the darkness and hear a familiar... run. Jason is out to find you, and chances are you are not leaving alive. On a bleak Halloween night, Michael Myers was born into the world as a seemingly normal child. However, beneath his pale, blank face hid something dark, something evil.
How evil? Well, he stabbed his sister Judy to death when he was just 6 years old. Oh, what a rascal.
Michael was institutionalized at a sanitarium where he simply sat still, almost like a machine. His psychiatrist, Dr. Loomis, spent 8 years trying to reach him, but Michael never said a word.
But even when locked up, he still managed to get away with several murders, including Loomis's fiancée. There was no helping or stopping Michael. More than anything, he wanted to kill.
After 15 years, the night before Halloween, he broke out of the sanitarium, leaving behind one word: sister.
The story goes Michael had another sibling, Lori, and for some unknowable reason, he wanted her to suffer the same fate as Judy. And everyone else, really. He's not too picky, and he could do it too.
For in his hands, anything can be a deadly weapon. Countless reports of various murders have appeared across Haddonfield. He's exploded heads, boiled people alive, and used his trademark knife to stab poor souls to walls like some macabre piece of art.
When they say to admire your work, I don't think think this is what they meant. This isn't some special combat knife or dagger. He did this with an ordinary kitchen knife.
Michael is also surprisingly clever, despite being confined for nearly all his life. At some point, he apparently taught himself how to drive.
It's pretty clear this masked psycho was definitely plotting something while he was in the ward.
All these kills were just a detour to his ultimate goal, Laurie. On an all too familiar Halloween night, he finally met his long-lost sister and nearly killed her.
But Loomis intervened, shooting Michael and sending him out a window. Phew, well, guess that's the end of him. Yeah, you know it's not.
No one knows how, but the body simply vanished, only to return later that night as if nothing had happened.
There's a reason why they call him the Boogeyman.
Even after being set on fire and rendered comatose, Michael Myers would not be stopped.
Almost like he's some kind of invincible undead monster.
Many explanations have been given for Michael's strange abilities, but some less reputable sources suggest he's bound to the ancient druidic Curse of Thorn, whose symbol is, well, they say it's an ancient icon of Halloween, but it's actually the Norse rune for Thor, sometimes called the Thorn Rune. I think they just Googled rune and thorn and called it a day.
Whoa. Is Michael Myers a Viking? Yes! Awesome!
Curse or no curse, Michael is inexplicably driven to kill without hesitation, and his victims almost never see him coming.
You said uh-oh.
Well, explaining Michael away with a vague curse is nothing more than a crutch for the truth. The fact of the matter is, no one knows why he is so cruel, so violent, so unstoppable. He just is.
At the end of the day, evil gives no explanation, only despair.
Michael thrives not just on the satisfaction of murder, but the fear it inflicts in others.
Even scarier, his kills are done with surgical precision. He can murder you as quickly or slowly as he wants. This guy knows exactly what he's doing with that kitchen knife. He's like a hibachi chef of death.
And yet, his attacks were almost brought to an end by Laurie herself. But when the time came for the final blow, Michael proved his intelligence and wit by faking his own death using a body double.
All while getting his sister to commit murder for him. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed.
He's also either impossibly sneaky, or he can use teleportation, because he once moved through a yard full of motion sensors without setting off a single one, until he wanted to.
Look at this! There's just no stopping him. Fill him full of bullets, Michael will come back ready to rip off your head. Put him in the center of an exploding church, he'll survive and go on to kill dozens more people, just for dramatic effect.
It was this relentless evil that made the people of Haddonfield go ballistic and band together to end Michael Myers once and for all.
Unfortunately, the town would soon realize that was just not possible.
Any ordinary person would have been long dead after what he experienced, but he took all of the town's punishment, got right back up, and went right back to doing what he does best.
And you know what's the creepiest part about all this? They never caught him. He's still out there looking for his next prey, I assume.
So every Halloween night, lock your doors, turn off your lights, and pray you'll make it to morning. Because the boogeyman is real, and his name is Michael Myers.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by Babbel.
It's days like these I wish I could sail the French Riviera, speaking French with the locals. Spanish would be nice too, and Italian, Greek, Mandarin, Farsi, oh, and for the chin.
You only need to improve your pronunciation and Babbel, language for life. Because of that, it can be overwhelming to learn how to within your personal and professional life. You're back out there.
If any of that sounds appealing.
All right, the tales have been told and terror runs free. Let's see. See which monster will stalk another day.
It's time for a spooky death battle!
Mother is talking to you. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. Kill her. Kill her.
Where are you? We gotta go!
Kill him, Jason. Kill him! Make Mother proud.
Okay, are we sure he's dead? You can't be too careful with these guys.
Michael Myers won't be rising from the grave this time. Jason was too much for him. The stories may paint these slashers as unstoppable, but they do have limits and can be understood.
To Michael's credit, he could match Jason in a lot of ways. Both were experts in methods of killing, and both could totally teleport.
Theoretically, though if both of them really could teleport, then neither had an advantage in that regard. So teleportation deniers can rest easy knowing it wasn't really a factor here.
Even the explosions they both survived were similar in size and destructibility.
But Jason held the edge with his superior endurance and healing. Michael faking his death with a body double was clever, but he did it because he explicitly could not survive something like decapitation or getting half his torso blown off.
But Jason could. He also had more experience fighting other supernatural enemies like Leatherface, Freddy, and his uber self. So I doubt Michael could have surprised him with something he's never seen before.
And Jason was just as strong and vicious as Michael, if not more. So given the difference in survivability, he had a much better chance of striking Michael down first. In a battle between two unkillable monsters, it's only natural it would come down to who was more unkillable.
After being ripped to pieces, Michael could now rip in peace. Right, Jocelyn? Jocelyn? Hello?
The winner is Jason Voorhees. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, we'll be jumping into the next matchup next week. But you can always get more death by clicking one of those boxes right over there, and by downloading the battle music linked down below.
Let me help you.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the best bad guy debuts in comic book movies. We'll be getting into spoilers for various superhero films, so consider this your warning. Number 30, Galactus, The Fantastic Four, First Steps.
I was once little like you, billions of years ago.
Galactus was bound to have a jaw-dropping introduction into the MCU. When the Fantastic Four learned of his impending arrival, they meet with the Cosmic Devourer and find out what he wants. They discover that he plans to take their baby and he's not asking.
Inside her, the child.
What does that mean?
From the moment we see the Eater of Worlds on screen to the moment this movie ends, we know that he's a serious threat. In fact, the whole film revolves around dealing with his plan to invade Earth. He's a terrifying force of nature, and that's made crystal clear to us. Considering his last cinematic outing was a gigantic cloud, fans were thrilled to finally get a more comic-accurate Galactus. Here's hoping we see more of him soon.
You will not have our planet, and you will never have our son!
I will eat your planet slowly, while your child watches.
Number 29, Abomination, the Incredible Hulk.
They threw a forklift truck like it was a softball! It's the most powerful thing I've ever seen.
While we see Emil Blonsky in this movie a bunch, things completely change when he transforms into the gamma-irradiated beast known as the Abomination. And when Abomination makes his way onto the screen, let us tell you, it's an event. His rampage across Harlem and subsequent clash with the Hulk were action-packed spectacles. Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, and the Abomination. The CGI was great, the atmosphere was electric, and audiences everywhere knew they were in for a treat. To this day, Abomination is arguably the Hulk's greatest cinematic sparring partner. The Incredible Hulk isn't a perfect MCU film by any means, but the Abomination's debut is an undeniable highlight. Number 28, The Phantasm, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Time to pay for your sins, Mr. Bronsky.
Batman's not the only vigilante in Gotham, but unlike The Dark Knight, the Phantasm has a different modus operandi entirely. Instead of murdering criminals, she aims to kill them, and she starts with gangster Chucky Soul. The Phantasm makes a spine-tingling entrance and stalks Chucky, with tensions escalating so much that he dies in a car wreck trying to combat her. This bloodthirsty vigilante's broody design and Grim Reaper-esque stature instantly show what the character is all about, bringing death to the wicked.
Stay away! This is not your... Fight!
Beyond that, the Phantasm is also a perfect mirror for Batman, showing what the Caped Crusader could have looked like if he let loose. They say first impressions are everything, and for the Phantasm, she makes a killer one.
Look what they did to us! What we could have had! They had to pay!
But Andy, what will vengeance solve?
If anyone knows the answer to that, Bruce, it's you.
Number 27, The High Evolutionary, Guardians of Volume 3.
He does not, sire. I tried to warn you, High Evolutionary. These Guardians are more powerful than you think.
Or perhaps you simply overestimate your own value.
Some people just go too far in their quest for perfection. Unfortunately, the High Evolutionary is one of those people. When we're first introduced to him through flashbacks of Rocket Raccoon's past, we quickly learn that he's nothing but a cruel villain. His absolute disregard for others makes him an exceptionally brutal bad guy.
Anything I've done for the betterment of the universe.
Newsflash, Einstein. Better universes generally don't include a bunch of octopuses selling meth to guys with cockroach heads.
They do not.
It's the pure evil that we see him do that makes it so rewarding when he finally gets what he deserves. His first impression is so uncomfortable, we know right away that he's a rotten apple. It's not easy to solidify someone as a great villain right from the jump. But for the High Evolutionary, we don't need any more convincing.
Find 89P13 and return to me, or I will destroy your entire civilization, as is my right. Do you understand?
Number 26, Cassandra Nova, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, ableism. Great. That's not gonna go over well with the woke mob.
A Wolverine! I wondered when I'd get one of you.
The long-lost evil twins sure do have a way of biting back in a pretty big way. When it comes to Cassandra Nova, Professor X's nefarious secret sister, she turned out to be one hell of a problem. In Deadpool and Wolverine, she ruled over the desolate wasteland known as the Void with an iron fist, terrifying any and all survivors.
I don't know what half of that means. My hat's off to you, sir. What? Truly. I don't.
To get even more specific, within minutes of appearing on the big screen, she brutally murdered Johnny Storm. Killing a member of the Fantastic Four is one thing, but the way she does it is next level psychotic. Seriously, just look at what she did to poor Chris Evans's face. Yikes, that really doesn't look too pretty.
They sent me here before I could walk. And you know it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I love it here.
Number 25, Scarecrow, Batman Begins.
Would you like to see my mask? I use it in my experiments.
At first glance, Jonathan Crane might seem like a stuck-up pencil pusher, but Scarecrow, on the other hand, well, that's a whole other story. And unfortunately for Carmine Falcone, he found that out the hard way. While locked up, Falcone tries to pull some strings with Dr. Crane to get released, but Crane isn't too interested in Falcone's ideas.
Well, he's not faking, not that one. I'll talk to the judge and see if I can get him moved to the secure wing at Arkham.
Nazis, and realizes they're friends of his childhood tormentor. And others square off against the Apocalyptian and his army. As an extremely powerful...
Take a seat, have a drink.
Number 24, The Void, Thunderbolts. Terrifying any and all survivors.
I don't know what half of that means. My hat's off to you, sir. What? Truly. I don't.
To get even more specific, within minutes of appearing on the big screen, she brutally murdered Johnny Storm. Killing a member of the Fantastic Four is one thing, but the way she does it is next level psychotic. Seriously, just look at what she did to poor Chris Evans's face. Yikes, that really doesn't look too pretty.
They sent me here before I could walk. And you know it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I love it here.
Number 25, Scarecrow, Batman Begins.
Would you like to see my mask? I use it in my experiments.
At first glance, Jonathan Crane might seem like a stuck-up pencil pusher, but Scarecrow, on the other hand, well, that's a whole other story. And unfortunately for Carmine Falcone, he found that out the hard way. While locked up, Falcone tries to pull some strings with Dr. Crane to get released, but Crane isn't too interested in Falcone's ideas.
Well, he's not faking, not that one. I'll talk to the judge and see if I can get him moved to the secure wing at Arkham.
So, to mess around with him, he douses him in fear toxin and slips into his Scarecrow getup. The results are simply horrifying. The distorted visuals render Falcone catatonic.
So when did the nut take over the nut house?
They scream and they cry. Which is your day now.
And makes Scarecrow look like a monster. Plus, in one of Scarecrow's later outings in the film, he infects Batman too and sets him on fire. So yeah, Scarecrow's definitely not one to mess around with.
Oh, having trouble. Take a seat, have a drink.
Number 24, The Void, Thunderbolts. Bob Reynolds had all the makings to be a powerful superhero as the Sentry, but his own insecurities and sorrows also meant he had all the makings to be a powerful supervillain. That's essentially how the Void came to be. This evil manifestation of all Bob's depression eventually took hold and spread chaos across New York. It covered the city into total darkness and subjected people to their own inner depressions. The Void essentially made everyone it came across fight their own inner demons. Simply put, the Void is both incredibly terrifying and able to terrify people in a way that makes him one of MCU's scariest evildoers. Let's hope Bob doesn't slip up and let the Void loose again.
You can't outrun the emptiness.
I think Bob's dark side got superpowers. Get everybody off the street.
Let's go, let's go! Come on! Come on,
Number 23, the real Mandarin, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Look, Trevor Slattery was cool as a funny subversion of the Mandarin, but thank goodness he wasn't the actual real deal. And thank goodness it wasn't Aldrich Killian either. In Shang-Chi, it will be revealed that the real Mandarin is Zhu Wenwu, and spoiler alert, he's simply incredible. The movie's prologue does an awesome job setting up how powerful he is, and the rest of the film shows how he cares about his family. It gives him a level of nuance that many early MCU villains just don't have. While it's a shame he never crossed paths with Iron Man, the action scenes we get with him nearly make up for that. The real Mandarin is charming, intelligent, deadly, and hopefully here to stay.
他打造了一支十环军团。千百年来，他们扫荡了世界的每个角落。
Number 22, The Riddler, The Batman.
I'm not saying there isn't work to do, but listen, I have a beautiful wife and young son, okay, and I will not rest.
Edward Nygma has been a colorful and zany villain in previous iterations, but in Matt Reeves' dark and deconstructed take on the Batman mythology, he's a downright disturbing serial killer. In The Batman, Edward Nashton is set up as a vengeful loner looking to expose Gotham for its corruption, and who murders his victims in brutal ways.
Gotham's legacy of lies and murder!
I hope you're listening, Bruce Wayne. This is your legacy, too. And Gotham needs you to answer for the sins of your father.
He's less in line with the mustache-trolling costume criminal and more in line with the Zodiac Killer. The opening sequence of the film follows his point of view and almost treats him like a horror villain. Just look at how he first appears in the frame. It's like a freaking jump scare. This Riddler has a dark presence to him that shows why you shouldn't underestimate him. Number 21, Killmonger, Black Panther.
These items aren't for sale.
How do you think your ancestors got these? You think they paid a fair price? Or did they take it like they took everything else?
So I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
If your character has only been in a few projects and is already considered one of the MCU's greatest villains, you're probably doing something right. When Eric Killmonger made his way onto the scene, he did it in style by robbing the Museum of Great Britain. Not long after he began his crusade against the Black Panther and nearly toppled Wakanda's entire power structure, Killmonger was a big deal. Not only did he have a sympathetic backstory, but he also had charisma in spades.
I'm standing in your house, serving justice to a man who stole your vibranium and murdered your people. Justice your king couldn't deliver.
To this day, there are fans who side with him, believing that Wakanda did him wrong. Don't get it twisted. Killmonger was still a bad guy, but he He had so much on-screen presence that you couldn't help but root for him.
You're not telling me that's vibranium too, huh?
Nah, I'm just feeling it.
Number 20, Darkseid, Zack Snyder's Justice League. He might not speak much, but from the get-go, Darkseid means business. As he attempts to conquer Earth, he's met with a huge amount of resistance. An alliance of men, Atlanteans, gods, Amazons, and others square off against the Apocalyptian and his army. As an extremely powerful being, he's able to cut through the attacking forces and even manages to kill a Green Lantern. He's pretty seriously wounded by Ares and is forced to retreat, suffering his only defeat when attempting to conquer a planet. His power is immense, so you're gonna have to pull out all the stops to beat him. Number 19, The Spot, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's common for heroes and villains to have a symbiotic relationship with one another. However, their shared connection isn't always obvious, and that's the case here.
The Spot.
To cut through the attacking forces and even manages to kill a Green Lantern. He's pretty seriously wounded by Ares and is forced to retreat, suffering his only defeat when attempting to conquer a planet. His power is immense, so you're gonna have to pull out all the stops to beat him. Number 19, The Spot, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's common for heroes and villains to have a symbiotic relationship with one another. However, their shared connection isn't always obvious, and that's the case here.
The Spot. We meet again, Spider-Man.
Oh, that's funny to you?
Of course not. No. So is that a costume?
Unfortunately for both of us, this is skin.
When the Spot attempts to rob an ATM, Spider-Man naturally shows up to stop him. Their fight is awkward and humorous as Miles doesn't take his nemesis seriously. But the seemingly benign interaction masks the rising tension felt by the Spot as he tries to explain their connection.
You understand this is the fight of our lives, right?
Just a second, man.
No, go ahead, take the call. Turn off your phone in a movie theater. You don't turn it off when you're fighting me?
Miles' failure to acknowledge his role in his foe's plight has dire consequences once the Spot learns how to travel to different dimensions. Number 18, Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse. Some mutants are really old, a lot older than you might think. Apocalypse has been around since at least 3600 BC. Although he's seen briefly in the film's opening, we aren't really introduced to him. That won't happen until he's revived thousands of years later. Even though he's been in stasis for a long while, he wastes no time demonstrating his immense power. He causes a worldwide tremor, and Jean Grey is plagued with a nightmarish vision of the future death and destruction that Apocalypse will bring.
I saw the end of the world. I could feel all this death.
Number 17, Syndrome, The Incredibles. Sometimes things come back to bite you in the butt. At least that's what happens to Mr. Incredible when he finds out the true identity of his employer.
I take it our host is...
Oh, I'm sorry. He won't be dining with us tonight. He hopes you'll understand.
Of course. I do usually make it a point to know who I'm working for.
He prefers a certain amount of anonymity. Surely you, of all people, understand that.
Waiting to receive his mission, Bob is suddenly attacked by the Omni Droid. We soon find out that Syndrome is responsible for controlling the robot. Not only that, but Mr. Incredible comes to realize that Syndrome is little Buddy Pine from way back in the day.
Sure, it was difficult, but you are worth it. I mean, after all, I am your biggest fan.
Buddy?
Buddy idolized Bob and wanted to partner with him but was rejected. He's come a long way from being a starry-eyed boy and now is a force to be reckoned with. Number 16, Shredder, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a crime wave hitting New York City and it seems like no one's valuables are safe.
Crimes without crime, an invisible gang at work? Who are we gonna call? Unfortunately, the police are the only ones available to combat what some are already dubbing the silent crime wave.
It looks like the group responsible is the Foot Clan, who's been rounding teens and putting them on a path towards crime. We're introduced to the clan's lair when we finally meet their leader, the Shredder. A long shadow stretches across the frame as the camera swings down from above. Shredder slowly turns around to observe the crowd that has gathered. The slow music and use of shadow really make him an imposing figure.
You are here because the outside world rejects you. This is your family. I am your father.
Number 15, Starro the Conqueror, the Suicide Squad. This alien starfish is definitely a threat, but it wasn't by its own design. Starro was captured by American astronauts and subsequently held captive in the small island nation of Corto Maltese, where, unfortunately, it's been experimented on for decades.
I call it Starro the Conqueror. That's meant to be derisive. Sorry, old chum. These two are here to kill you.
When Flag and Ratcatcher 2 enter the facility where Starro is held, not only is the alien captive, but tons of people have been taken over by miniature versions of the starfish. The reveal certainly alters our understanding of the creature from the beginning of the film and makes him a tragic figure. Number 14, Ares, Wonder Woman. Diana suspects that Ares is the driving force behind World War I, and to bring about peace, she must kill him.
I will stop Ares.
What if you're wrong?
What if there is no Ares?
You don't believe me.
I can't let you do this.
What I do is not up to you.
Pursuant to her mission, she tracks down General Ludendorff, who she believes is the god of war. Armed with her god-killer sword, she ends him. She quickly learns that she was wrong and that Sir Charles is Ares. His calm, diplomatic demeanor highlights his insidious ability to influence the world of man towards destruction.
Join me, and with our powers combined, we could finally end all the pain, all the suffering, the destruction they bring. And we could return this world to the paradise it was before them.
He tries to persuade Diana to join him, but his tricks don't work on her. Number 13, Sandman, Spider-Man 3. Flint Marko had to resort to a life of crime in order to take care of his ailing daughter. After escaping from prison, he falls into a particle accelerator, and it looks like he's done for as he seemingly disintegrates. Turns out that Marko had turned into sand. We see individual grains start to come together and they slowly begin to take shape. It's sad in a way, since he struggles to be whole again as he falls apart only to reform and try again. It highlights the precarious situation he's in, not just in taking a corporeal form, but also in his quest to save his daughter. Number 12, Thanos, Avengers Infinity War. Even though he had appearances in Guardians of the Galaxy and Age of Ultron, we didn't get a sense of Thanos, not in any comprehensive sense. That changes with the opening of Infinity War, where the Asgardian refugee vessel is attacked by Thanos' forces.
You have had the privilege of being saved by the great Titan. You may think this is suffering. No. It is salvation.
Searching for the Tesseract, he slaughtered half the occupants of the ship, and we see his calm, calculating demeanor in the aftermath. Even when fighting the Hulk, he's so precise with his attacks that he easily defeats the Green Monster. It's one thing to hear others talk about how fierce the Titan is. But it's a completely different thing to see him in action.
There are 2 more stones on Earth. Find them, my children, and bring them to me on Titan.
Father, we will not fail you.
Number 11, Hela, Thor Ragnarok. She's the sister Thor and Loki never knew they had.
Oh, who are you talking about?
Goddess of death, Hela. Her firstborn,
Your sister. What?
Seriously, the pair learns of her existence from their dying father mere moments before she appears on the screen. Even though she's technically in a weakened state, she's still pretty strong. She commands Thor and Loki to kneel before her, and when Thor responds by tossing Mjolnir at her, she destroys it.
It's not possible.
Darling, you have no idea what's possible.
Loki, realizing they're in way over their heads, attempts to return to Asgard, which has the consequence of Hela returning to her homeworld and becoming even more powerful. She quickly dispatches 2 of the Warriors 3 and sets about her conquest of other realms. Number 10, Green Goblin, Spider-Man. What better way to introduce your villainous alter ego than before a crowd of thousands at a New York fair? Rocketing through the skies on his trademark glider, Norman Osborn reveals his Green Goblin persona, commencing his swath of destruction with a few deadly pumpkin bombs. But soon, he has his first epic clash with Spider-Man. After manhandling a couple of policemen, the Green Goblin gets the upper hand on his web-slinging nemesis by using his glider's extensive weaponry and his own newly acquired super strength. Although Spider-Man ends the fight after disabling the Goblin's glider, the cackling Emerald Maniac certainly made a splash in his public debut.
We'll meet again, Spider-Man!
Number 9, Red Skull, Captain America, the First Avenger. Making his grand reveal amidst a sea of flames as his Hydra base begins to explode, Red Skull's initial meeting with Captain America is a spectacular sight to behold.
Not exactly an improvement, but still impressive.
As the two arch-rivals square off astride a balcony above a widening inferno, Johann Schmidt proves he's far more than your average Nazi thug. He withstands a brutal right hook from Cap and makes a sizable dent in his shield with a single blow. Ola separates the two. Schmidt tears off his prosthetic face and displays his true one in all its macabre glory. With a gruesome unmasking befitting a horror movie villain, Red Skull steals the show with this dramatic introduction.
You are deluded, Captain. You pretend to be a simple soldier, but in reality, you are just afraid to admit that we have left humanity behind.
Number 8, General Zod, Man of Steel. Emerging from a cloud of smoke after his men slaughter the guards of Krypton's council, General Zod makes an entrance suitable for a hardened military commander.
This council has been disbanded.
It's clear from the beginning that he's not a fan of civilized debate, because he murders a council elder in cold blood to make sure everyone knows who's in charge now. Having already accepted that Krypton is doomed, Zod asks Jor-El to help him rebuild their race elsewhere, with only the bloodlines that Zod deems fit to survive. When Jor-El refuses, Zod has him taken away, demonstrating his unwillingness to compromise, which in turn is indicative of his despotic mindset.
I will honor the man you once were, Zod. Not this monster you've become.
Take him away.
Number 7, Loki, The Avengers. A massive step up from his first appearance in Thor, Loki blazes into the Avengers through a Tesseract portal. And from the moment we see his malevolent sneer, we know he's got some bad things in mind for the people of Earth.
Sir, please
put down the spear.
Declining Nick Fury's request to put down his weapon, Loki instead opts to massacre several S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, brainwash both Hawkeye and Professor Selvig, and leave with the Tesseract so he can commence his plans of world domination. This is a simple but effective scene that captures the danger, charm, and mischievous wit of Thor's adopted brother.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Number 6, Ultron, Avengers Age of Ultron. Heralded by an ear-splitting noise, Ultron's first appearance in the Avengers Age of Ultron is perhaps the most frightening villain interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
How could you be worthy? You're all killers.
Stark. Jarvis.
I'm sorry, I was asleep. Or I was a dream.
Stumbling into the Avengers get-together in the body of a decrepit drone, Ultron's terrifying accusations against Earth's mightiest heroes are made all the more unsettling when one realizes there's plenty of truth behind them. Bolstered by the haunting voice of James Spader, Ultron's initial challenge to the Avengers is a wicked combination of foreboding and dark humor, setting the stage for the carnage that ensues.
That was dramatic.
Number 5, Magneto, X-Men First Class. Although Magneto is often portrayed as a villain in the X-Men franchise, few can deny he's nowhere near as evil as the Nazis that murdered his family during the Holocaust. While searching for Sebastian Shaw in Argentina, Magneto comes across a bar that happens to be owned by a pair of Nazis and realizes they're friends of his childhood tormentor. Upon revealing the number tattooed on his forearm in Auschwitz, Magneto decides to exact some sweet revenge on the war criminals before introducing himself in a suitably terrifying way, showing them and us how the Nazis' cruelty transformed him.
Let's just say I'm Frankenstein's monster.
Number 4, Winter Soldier, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. After Nick Fury narrowly escapes an assassination attempt by Hydra operatives disguised as cops, he finds himself headed straight towards an ominous figure in black who doesn't seem all too concerned about the rapidly approaching vehicle.
Get me off the grid!
Calculating route to secure location.
Effortlessly neutralizing Fury's escape, the Winter Soldier calmly saunters towards his wounded prey like an emotionless murder machine and rips the door off his reinforced SUV before discovering Fury has escaped. Despite the close call, this grim scene immediately tells the audience that the Winter Soldier is a force to be reckoned with and is more than a match for his old friend Captain America.
You're my mission.
Finish it.
Number 3, Bane, The Dark Knight Rises. Getting captured on purpose can be risky, but Bane has the brains and brawn to pull it off. At the mercy of CIA agents, Bane maintains an eerie coolness during the tense situation as he candidly reveals his plan to crash the plane and escape with a nuclear physicist.
Who are you?
It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is our plan.
As a second plane arrives to retrieve Bane and his associates, the mad psychopath displays his alarming strength by breaking his handcuffs with ease and holding on for dear life with one arm as his surroundings become vertical. Despite the exhilarating nature of the aircraft action, it's these subtle hints to Bane's madness and skill that immediately alert the audience to the threat he poses for Batman.
Now is not the time for fear. That comes later.
Number 2, Dr. Octopus, Spider-Man 2. What begins as a presumably light-hearted surgery scene rapidly devolves into sheer horror as Otto Octavius is reborn as Dr. Octopus.
Anybody here take shop class?
As a team of Doc Ock's new mechanical limbs via power tools, it becomes terrifyingly clear that the arms have a mind of their own and are not willing to be separated from their creator. They work together like a quartet of horror movie monsters as they murder the doctors one by one. This scene is our first indication that whatever humor was to be found in the Dr. Octopus of the comics is not to be found in Alfred Molina's tragic take on the iconic supervillain.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, The Joker, The Dark Knight. Beginning as a fairly standard bank robbery scene, the Joker's introduction in Christopher Nolan's masterpiece is a slow burn that has one tremendous payoff.
All right, everybody, hands up, heads down!
As the thieves' greed gets the better of them and they begin to kill each other off, one remains silent as the heist goes off according to plan. After the timely intervention of a school bus and the elimination of its driver, a wounded bank manager asks the lone remaining thief what he believes in and gets an instantly classic answer.
What do you believe in?
I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
Lent incredible weight by Hans Zimmer's score, the Joker's introduction is a taste of the insanity and chaos that is to follow in The Dark Knight. Is there an epic villain intro we missed? Share the devilish details down in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. humor, setting the stage for the carnage that ensues.
That was dramatic.
Number 5, Magneto, X-Men First Class. Although Magneto is often portrayed as a villain in the X-Men franchise, few can deny he's nowhere near as evil as the Nazis that murdered his family during the Holocaust.
Carter, listen to me. Don't do this.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at 20 real-life accidents that mirrored the fatalities from the Final Destination franchise. As a warning, there will be spoilers.
Each one of these people went on to die in some weird and messed up way. And not only that, they all died in the same order as Iris's premonition.
Tall skyscraper. Keeping with its freaky tradition, Final Destination Bloodlines kicks off with a stunning disaster in a sky-high restaurant.
Oh, no, I've just never been this high up before.
It's 1969, and during the grand opening of the futuristic Skyview, Iris has a premonition of the tower collapsing. She warns everyone, narrowly averting the tragedy. While nothing as dramatic occurred in real life, something equally tragic did happen. In 2017, a young Chris Holt was with his parents visiting the Sundial, a rotating restaurant on the 72nd floor of Atlanta's Peachtree Plaza Hotel. He wandered away and got trapped between the wall and the rotating restaurant's floor. Rescue attempts failed and he later died. The building may not have collapsed, but after that, who wouldn't get nervous about dining way up high? Stone Altar. In the Final Destination franchise, even if you manage to escape a massive disaster, death always comes back, striking in the weirdest, most elaborate ways imaginable.
We're here. Something gave us a second chance, so let's be thankful and just try to make the most of it. Okay?
Tragically, a real-life incident echoes that same chilling theme. In 2009, Gunter Link, a devout Catholic, survived being trapped in an elevator. Grateful to be alive, he went to give thanks to God. But fate had other plans. While praying at the Winehouse Church in Vienna, he clung to the stone pillar and the stone altar collapsed and crushed him. He was found dead the next day by parishioners. What are the odds of something so eerie happening? It's honestly the kind of tragic twist you would expect in a horror movie. The roller coaster. The roller coaster accident in Final Destination 3 hits a little close to home when you hear about a real-life incident from 2019.
What's wrong?
I was having that feeling like deja vu, except something that hasn't happened yet.
In the film, Wendy boards the Devil's Flight roller coaster and suddenly has a vision that it will crash. Panicking, she convinces some friends to get off, and moments later, the crash actually happens. Now here's where it gets eerie. In 2019, at a theme park in Mexico City, a roller coaster called Chimera actually did derail. One of its cars veered off, fell several feet away, and 2 people died from the accident. As freaky as Wendy's vision is, it proves that the unthinkable can happen. But then again, this is not the only case of roller coaster accidents. No escape. In the very first installment, Alex has a gut-wrenching vision of Flight 180 exploding just before takeoff.
It's not a joke! It's not a joke! Alex, take it easy!
In a panic, he manages to save himself and some other passengers. But death is not quite done with them. In fact, the entire franchise runs on the scary pattern: escape now, pay later. Now here's the kicker. Something just as chilling happened in real life. In 2012, sportscaster Jessica Redfield escaped a mass shooting at Toronto's Eaton Centre. She even tweeted about having a sickening feeling before it happened. Tragically, weeks later, she died in a second shooting, this time in a movie theater.
Actually, our lives have been upside down for almost 3 years, so it was a pretty easy decision to decide that we really wanted to be here during
and tweeted about having a sickening feeling before it happened. Tragically, weeks later, she died in a second shooting, this time in a movie theater.
Actually, our lives have been upside down for almost 3 years, so it was a pretty easy decision to decide that we really wanted to be here in the trial.
Makes you wonder if Final Destination draws from real life, or is life just that twisted? Either way, it is terrifying and sad. large steel chain. Every fan of the franchise knows the drill. Freak accidents, chain reactions, and death lurking in the unlikeliest places. Remember the gymnast's death in Final Destination 5?
I think you got this.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you love it out there.
Okay. You're right.
She's mid-routine when chaos, a loose screw, shock in the eyes, a stumble, then bam, she loses her grip and falls to her death. Sounds wild, right? Well, real life gave us something just as bizarre in 2023. The punk band Cliff Diver was en route to the punk rock bowling festival in Vegas when all hell broke loose. Out of nowhere, a massive steel chain link from a passing semi-truck flew past the driver's seat and slammed the driver, Tyler Rogers, in the neck. Miraculously, the van didn't crash and Rogers survived.
We're gonna figure that out, but we're not concerned about anything besides him getting out of the hospital.
Decapitation. Some accidents in Final Destination might seem over the top and absurd at first glance, but then real life comes along to remind us that the truth can be just as bizarre.
What are you doing?
In 2004, a drunk driver in Georgia, John Kemper Hutcherson, crashed into a support wire for a telephone pole. The wire acted like a razor and, in the chaos, decapitated Francis Daniel Brom, who was leaning out the window. The drunk Hutcherson drove 12 miles home with the headless corpse and even slept in his bloody clothes. It wasn't until a neighbor spotted the corpse that authorities got involved. Still, a decapitation by a stray wire? What are the odds of that happening? It proves that the weirdest, most gruesome accidents don't just belong on screen. Wood chipper. Bizarre doesn't even begin to describe this 2005 incident that happened in Denver. Chad Swank and his longtime partner Brian Morse were working a routine tree trimming job when tragedy struck. While cutting a branch, Swank noticed that Morse was lying across the opening of the chipper. At first, he thought the machine was turned off and Morse was fixing something. But to his surprise, the chipper was still running and Morse was being pulled towards it with his feet first. Even sadder, Swank couldn't do anything to stop it. This accident reads like a Final Destination scene. Unexpected, brutal, and unsettling. We've seen everyday machines turn deadly in horror fiction. Unfortunately, they do cause real-life tragedies too. The cursed moment the guy's built on freaky accidents.
You look at me as if I didn't cause this.
That very scene was born from writer Jeffrey Reddick's idea, which came after he read a strange real-life story in the newspaper. According to this story, a mother had warned her daughter not to board a specific flight because she had a bad feeling about it. The daughter listened, and that plane later crashed. While Flight 180 may be fictional, it's eerily similar to a real-life plane crash. In 1996, TWA Flight 800 exploded mid-air just 12 minutes after takeoff, killing all 230 passengers on board.
It's mass chaos.
And from all of this wreckage, they can actually see that this was the 747 from Flight 800.
Orange peel. Imagine surviving near-death experiences like plunging over Niagara Falls in a barrel, only to be taken out by an orange peel. That's exactly what happened to the British daredevil Bobby Leach. After surviving the falls, he kept pushing limits like swimming dangerous rivers, but nothing fatal happened. In 1926, during a publicity tour in New Zealand, fate came knocking on his door. While walking down the street, Leach slipped on an orange peel, injured his leg, and got a nasty infection. Doctors planned an amputation, but it was too late, as he died from complications. As sad as it is, isn't it peak Final Destination energy? something tiny kicks off a domino effect, and before you know it, someone is being impaled or electrocuted. MRI machine. Just as Stephanie warned, death was coming for everyone in her family. Her cousin Eric narrowly survives one freak accident in his tattoo shop and thinks he's in the clear. But death is not done. While near an MRI machine, it powers up behind him.
This is the only way we can do
Soon, his phone is sucked in, boosting the magnet to dangerous levels. In a horrifying twist, his piercings are ripped out just before he's yanked into the machine. It is painful to watch, but something just as brutal happened in real life. In New York, Keith McAllister was wearing a large gold chain while his wife was getting her knee scanned. The MRI machine forcefully pulled him, and he died the next day from the traumatic injuries.
Investigators say a 61-year-old man wearing a large metal chain was hospitalized following a freak accident.
Pool drains. In The Final Destination, Hunt chases his lucky quarter into the deep end of a swimming pool, where he gets his bottom stuck against a powerful drain. With nowhere to go, the pressure gauge reaches a high enough number to suck his intestines out and regurgitate them all over the deck. There have been many true cases of swimmers being stuck against pool drains, though most end in rescue.
A freak accident and rescue at the public pool.
But just 2 years before the film's release, a young girl in Minneapolis sat on a powerful public pool drain and suffered a similar fate to Hunt. Though she initially survived, she would not make it through a series of surgeries.
A body can actually seal off these covers, and large forces could hold a bather down to the drain.
As a result of this tragedy, Congress passed legislation to ban drain covers that don't meet anti-entrapment safety standards. Tanning beds. Horror films have long used tanning beds as a plot device to convey the purported dangers of vanity, or the literal danger of skin cancer. Vapid teens Ashley and Ashlyn find themselves trapped in a fiery tomb after a series of unfortunate events sets their beds ablaze. While there have been many instances of tanning beds causing major fires at salons, they fortunately happened while the businesses were closed. That is, except for one case.
When firefighters arrived, the tanning bed was fully engulfed in flames.
In 2014, a woman catching a tan found herself flying too close to the sun. After hearing a spark and seeing smoke, the bed caught fire. Fortunately, the woman was not locked in like the girls in the movie, so she jumped out as the sprinkler system kicked on and survived the calamity unharmed. Nail guns. After Ian is saved in Final Destination 3, the Reaper quickly moves on by unloading a full clip of nails from a modified nail gun into the back of Aaron's head. Actual pneumatic nail guns do not operate quite like the one in the movie, but at least 10 construction site incidents have resulted in fatalities according to OSHA databases. In 2023, a truly Final Destination-esque situation unfolded when a nail gun erroneously ejected 2 nails. One ricocheted off the other, which was sent upwards through the tongue of a carpenter's apprentice. The man miraculously survived, but a 33-year-old laborer would lose his life in a freakish workplace disaster that took place in 2013. The sequential trigger of the nail gun he was using had been swapped out for a contact one, causing him to misfire directly into his eye while holding up a wall. Kitchen knives. Kitchen knives are a common tool used in homicides, but have been the cause of some truly grotesque mishaps as well. In the first movie, Val reaches for a rag, which happens to be draped over a knife rack. The entire thing tumbles over, sending a blade directly into her chest. The Rube Goldberg-like scene is pretty convoluted, however, not entirely unrealistic. In 2025, a boy in Australia tripped and fell backward onto an open dishwasher, landing on a steak knife. He fortunately survived the ordeal, but 4 years prior, a man carrying a plate of food up the stairs tripped and landed directly on his knife, which cut his carotid artery and caused him to bleed out. Elevator doors. There is an eerie number of ways an elevator can kill you. A rapid descent, a tumble down the shaft, or being crushed while entering or exiting have all caused casualties. But there's nothing quite as horrific as the Final Destination 2 moment where Nora's head is caught in between the doors and popped off. Even more terrifying, this exact scenario has actually played out multiple times. Back in 1995, a man holding an elevator open for another passenger in the Bronx was beheaded in a bizarre mishap. In 2003, a surgical resident's shoulders were pinned by a malfunctioning door and his head was severed. Even as recently as 2019, a woman in India had her headphones tangled in a factory lift's outer structure, leading to a grisly scene. Escalators. Like elevators, there's a notable sinking feeling many of us get when we step on or off an escalator. What if your shoelace gets caught? What if the entire thing collapses? In The Final Destination, Laurie gets sucked into the gears during a mall disaster. So basically, everyone's worst nightmare come true. And this nightmare did in fact come true in 2015. A mother in Beijing noticed a hole that suddenly appeared at the top of an escalator shaft when she and her son were reaching the summit. Though she managed to shove her boy to safety, she was tragically swallowed by the machine, much like Laurie.
The mall stayed open, customers unaware of the horror on the 7th floor.
Gym weights. It's safe to say the stack machine featured in Final Destination 3 doesn't really exist. It was specifically designed to crush Lewis's skull during an intense workout. Though this piece of engineering is fabricated, it's clear that gym weights are still extremely dangerous. Most fatal accidents occur without spotters present or on account of improper technique. In 2017, a trainer was pinned down in his home by a weightlifting machine that toppled over. The pressure on his throat led to a fatal heart attack. In 2025, a man performing calf raises while using a Smith machine slipped, causing the plastic step beneath him to tilt and the bar above his head to crash down on his neck. Gas grills. A good old backyard barbecue should smell like hamburgers and hot dogs, not singed flesh. At the very end of Final Destination 2, minor character Brian is blown to bits by a propane tank. This final twist is played off in a comedic manner to remind our protagonists that death is still making its rounds. However, it's no laughing matter when these types of incidents take place in real life. These detonations aren't really powerful enough to send limbs flying through the air, so we can chalk the Final Destination scene up to dramatic effect. With that being said, there have been a number of grill-related freak accidents. At a church community event, a dangerously high amount of propane had accumulated around the burner just before a volunteer sparked it. This explosion forced the grill door to open so violently that it struck and killed the man instantly. Aerial lifts. Most cherry picker-related deaths occur when the attendant in the bucket falls out or is struck by a passing truck. Yet despite being planted firmly on the ground, bad boy Ian is splattered by a cherry picker towering over him in Final Destination 3. 1 year after the film's release. This anomaly actually occurred at a construction site. The victim was working on several counterbalance valves at the base of a telescopic lift while it was in an extended position. The boom suddenly collapsed, crushing him below. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Logging trucks. Perhaps the most universally fear-inducing moment of the franchise, the pileup in Final Destination 2 is seared into viewers' brains, and for good reason. These types of accidents are all too common. An unsecured load of lumber toppling onto an open highway is a terrifying scenario. The movie's log through the windshield moment has unfolded numerous times, more often as a result of a driver rear-ending a timber lorry. This occurred as recently as 2024, when a man in North Carolina was fatally impaled in the abdomen as a result of the crash. A similar incident took place the same year, claiming the lives of a couple in North Dakota. So it looks like this generational trauma sadly won't heal anytime soon. Which of these real-life accidents freaked you out the most? Let us know in the comments.
Okay, those kids on Flight 180 died in accidents in the order they would have died if they'd have stayed on the plane.
You guys have been asking me to do this movie review for mad long. I don't know if some of you may or may not remember this old show from way back in the day called Tales from the Crypt. And it had this weird, nasty, decrepit, kind of looked like somebody that would walk around Philly, but that's besides the point. They would narrate these very scary stories. Well, somebody decided to make a version of that for us, the Blacks. Sorry, my fault. When I say the Blacks, it sounds crazy. But it's Tales from the Crypt. But this time, the tale is from the hood. Dun, 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 dun. Our story starts out with 3 gangbangers that have decided to go to home to make a drug transaction, but really they're there to rob them. To this day, I have no idea how they found out about these drugs that are allegedly here at this funeral home with this crazy ass guy. Any guy that's played by Clarence Williams III is insane. I know y'all seen Hoodlum. Bro got the crazy hairstyle and his eyes is crossed like he been beating it too much. Let me find out that Clarence Williams III is a gooner in a big 2025. Anyways, they popped up at this funeral home. All 3 of them. Stack, Jerome, and this other little guy who I can't remember his name. Anyway, Stack out here looking like Jody cousin from Baby Boy. All right, my fault. So they go to the door and, oh my God, did he just knock himself out? Bro so ugly he fled and hit his head. It's like me that one time I got catfished. Hey, what's good with y'all, man? I've been waiting for y'all boys. Come on in here, man. Make yourself right at home. Hey, you look like Jody cousin from Baby Boy. Get your ass up, man. Where the drugs at? Oh, what you talking about the drugs, man? Talking about my diarrhea or something? I was tripping last night, eat that Taco Bell. Man, nah, man, where the narcotics at? Oh, you talking about that? All right, you got the money? And of course we got some money, man. What you think, we broke, cuz? Man, this motherfucker tripping, cuz. You need to pick your hair. Hey, hold on, no, man, before I get y'all the... don't worry, you gonna be knee deep in it, too. Real. What you laughing at, cuz? Hey, be quiet, man. Let me tell you about Clarence, though. So at this point, he breaks off into these different stories. This one's about Clarence, a black cop that was a rookie on the force. Now, they end up pulling over this politician who has been telling the community that the cops have been selling drugs in the neighborhood. And obviously, they don't like that. Not only that, they're clearly racist, and the rookie don't understand. So he tries to intervene, but obviously they stop him and tell him to go back to the car, look his license plate up. First off, you know that them cops is on some... Bro talking about he ain't have no reason to pull him over. And then he smashed his tail light out. Oh my God. Did they just throw this dude's head through a window? Bro, I can't believe that they just Rodney King'd this guy in the middle of this movie. Obviously, it got to the point where the rookie tried to intervene and they stopped him. And his partner talking about, man, them dudes are cops now, boy. Now you need to be loyal to the cops. You know what I'm saying? Now they made a little honest mistake, but don't worry, they're gonna take the politician to the hospital. Everything is gonna be all right. But listen, man, you gotta live by the code. And furthermore, you never, ever break that code. You understand? Man, I'm not trying to hear that. Bro, you sure they gonna take him to the hospital? Man, I'm sure Snow is white, but they didn't take him to the hospital. No, what they did was they injected him with drugs, put him in a car, all beat up, and then pushed the car into the water. Made it look like one of those ODs that turned into a suicide or something. Now, obviously, at this point, my man Clarence, he leaves the force. He's super depressed because this dude's dead, didn't get to go to the hospital, and they set it up. Made him look like some sort of drug addict that OD'd and killed himself. Clarence is going through, pacing the hood, drinking alcohol. Yo, hold on. Who the fuck put this dude up on this mirror like this?
Clarence, bring them to me.
Bring them to you? What you mean bring them to you? Man, stop playing and bring them to my damn grave, cuz. Motherfuckers are stupid nowadays. Y'all iPad kids, man, I swear to God. Give you one simple direction, you talking about, what you mean bring them to? Man, stop playing with me, cuz. That's exactly what Clarence does. He brings his old force buddies to the cemetery where the politician is buried at. Now, obviously, he's talking to him, and he says, man, I can't believe that I fell for you. Like, I really thought that you was gonna take Morehouse to the hospital. First off, his dude name is Morehouse, so he named after a black college? You guys killed a good man. So I quit, because I couldn't stand being around y'all. He ain't a part of the force that y'all on. Man, boy, you quit because you was a pussy. Man, whatever, man, I'm not trying to hear that, man. Y'all gonna go to his grave with me or what? Well, let me guess, y'all too scared to go. Man, ain't nobody scared, boy. F you. Come on, let's go over there and talk to him then. Okay, that's cool, let's go over there. It's gonna be your funeral. What you say, boy? Oh, I ain't say nothing. Motherfucker about to smoke y'all last, cuz. What? So they pull up on the grave, bro, and there they are, man. And you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, The dude Morehouse probably popped out the grave on some zombie-ish, you know, smoked the cops. And we gonna get there, But first, it wouldn't be a movie depicting racism and bigotry and idiots without showing some idiotic action. So look at this cop, bro. He gonna walk over to the grave, push this dude Clarence out the way, and he took a piss on it. I'm gonna piss on his grave, boy. Bro, not only did he pee on the grave, he then asked his cop partner to pee on there too. Now this dude Billy get to peeing on the grave, bro, and they're about to kill this man Clarence. But right before it happens, this man Morehouse reaches out of the grave, grabs Billy, smacks his head on the gravestone, and then pulls him into the grave with him. Oh my God, what was there, TNT down there? Bro, they got Billy in the damn grave right now. Oh, nah. So this dude Morehouse done popped out like a zombie like I said he would. Bro got Billy's heart in his hand. Bro, that motherfucker's still pumping. Oh, nah. Trying to start the car and get up out of here, obviously, because this dude Morehouse is tripping. He get to driving, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, you're not gonna be able to get away from him. He's clearly paranormal. Bro probably finna teleport and everything. And that's exactly what happens. He ends up at the front of their car, looking crazy. Oh my God, yo, did they just side swipe and throw him off? Man, durability is different. So they end up crashing the car. This dude Morehouse grabs the other cop from the car and takes his head off. Oh, he done decapitated this man? Oh my God. So the cop gets out the car, bro, and this man Morehouse talking about now you, pointing at him. And this dude Morehouse talking about now you, pointing at him and shit. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, I know your breath is hot. You need to put a Listerine strip in the back of your mouth. Yo, hold up, how did this dude shoot this car and make it explode like that? Did he hit the gas can? Oh, God, I forgot got explosive bullets in the pistol? Now he in the hood at this point. He see the mural, he get the tripping out. Bro ran away right into Morehouse's hands. Oh my God, what the is that? Yo, was this dude's inside made of some sort of magic potion? What is this? Don't worry, because he did this man dirty. Used heroin needles. You know, those same needles, those drugs that they've been selling to the hood to crucify this man. Put him up on a mural, made him a part of it. Welcome to my world. You satisfied now, brother? Where were you when I needed you, brother? Now this dude Morehouse didn't kill him, but they threw his ass in the loony bin. Blamed him for all the cop killings. Now my thing is, yo, did he really kill the cops and he just imagined Morehouse did it in his head? Or did Morehouse do it and he really seen it and got blamed? To this day, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think though. Anyways, let's move on. This is a story of a boy named Walter. And this story is about reality and perception. You see, this boy Walter, he keeps getting visited by this monster at night. And he has no idea what the monster is. And he has a good idea what this monster is, but it's hard for him to explain it. Anyways, my man Walter goes to school the next day. And the very first day he getting picked on. How they gonna pick on a new kid like that? You know, I never understood that. You know, I was the new kid multiple times in my life. Me and my mom were poor, so we got evicted a lot and had to move around. But you know, I never got picked on or beat up. Probably didn't help that I was always way bigger than all the rest of the kids. So, I mean, that probably did help a little bit, but I don't know, man. I just wasn't going. As soon as a kid tried to even attempt to bully me, it looked like the WWE in there, except for I was the Big Show and they were Rey Mysterio. Anyways, he ends up going to the nurse after them kids pick on him, and he's talking to his teacher, telling him that there's a monster that keeps seeing him at his house. Obviously, the teacher and the nurse are worried about the kid because he's getting picked on, but now there's some marks on him they're seeing that are old marks. Not from those kids beating him up, but from somewhere at home. Now this dude Walter at home crying, once again holding a flashlight in his hand. This time he done put stuff in front of his door. I don't even know why he did that. It's a grown-ass man. He's gonna push through it. Now, the thing that's beautiful about Tales from the Hood is it's like a beautiful black anthology of a lot of issues that we go through. You know, obviously, you know, prejudice in the police force, a corrupt criminal system, abuse in a black household, gang violence, just pure racism. I mean, it's something that plagues our country, plagues the world. Beautiful, man. Honestly. The guy that created this is Rusty Cundiff. I don't know if I pronounced his last name right, but if you guys want to, you know, research or find more information out about him, you definitely should. Anyways, my man Walter goes to school with more bruises, and his teacher at this point feels like he needs to visit his house. So he does. And oh my God, his mom is bad. God, well, I ain't gonna gonna lie, I would have visited and I would have never left. I would have just had to kill her boyfriend when he came home. I ain't gonna lie. And then she gonna go put that little skimpy dress on. Girl, you know what you was doing. Now, I'd be wrong if I lift that little dress up when you was at that sink. I'm just saying. Anyways, obviously his mom has the hots for the teacher because, I mean, the teacher is a handsome guy. Tall, light skin, goatee, locks. Hold on. Bro think he me or something? Now, obviously, the teacher is trying to talk to Walter's mom about him saying that there's a monster in the house, and his mom is very upset about it. Walter, get in here right now. I told that boy about that. It's so narrow behind in this kitchen right now. Man, Mom, what? What is your problem? I told you. You can't go telling these stories at school. I'm gonna get my boyfriend locked up, and they'll beat us again. Now, at this point, bro, we hear the door. And we know that her boyfriend is here. Something that she's gonna have to handle because he's an asshole. Now, she tells Walter to go to his room. Now, the teacher tells this guy, reluctantly, that there's a few problems that Walter has. And for a couple of weeks, he's been having trouble with his friends. Now, he tells him about the bruises, and he says that there's a monster in the house. And he's very disturbed by it. And then he shows him a picture that he drew. Oh, and this triggered this guy. Because obviously, he knows that Walter's talking about him. Man, he really believes in this monster, man. Oh, he does, huh? I'm gonna talk to him. Don't even worry about it. Okay, I guess. Hey, sissy, why don't you show this dude out, man? Damn, you just gonna kick me out? I ain't even get to finish my tea, cuz. Out here looking like Jeffrey from Bel Air. I ain't gonna lie. Go to your room. Now, at this point, he's about to go to the car. Get out of Dodge. No truck. All right, my fault. That was trash. Now, he's getting in the car, bro. And this man is in trouble. So he goes into the room with the picture, bro. And obviously, Sissy runs in there to try to calm him down. And he punches her in the face. Oh, my God. So he gets to whooping her, bro. I mean, punching the shit out of her, smacking him with a belt. Now, obviously, the teacher comes in and try to stop him. But, bro, this dude got hands. Oh, my God. Weave. Mickey. Bro, why was he doing this to the teacher? Oh, my God, he's knocking everybody out. Yo, he done knocked her out again. Oh, smacked her with a... Oh, never mind. He done caught the pan. But at this point, my man Walter gets this picture and he gets to crumpling it up. And oh, my God. He got this dude sitting pretzel style. Oh, he turned him into a big pile of mush. And this shit ain't over yet. So at this point, they're worried that they might get in trouble, Obviously, if the cops come in there, see all three of them in this crumpled up body, somebody's taking the blame for it. But what does he do? He tells Walter to take this picture and put it on the burner. Turns this into ash. Bro, look like my dad. I ain't gonna lie. God damn, he dark now. Now, at this point, we move on to our next story. And the funeral home guy is explaining to them that sometimes souls get displaced, and he found the doll that her soul was displaced in a house in the South. This is a story about racism in the political system, and a guy that bought a house that used to be home to a slave owner. A guy who went mad and literally murdered all of his slaves after slavery got abolished. He was so angry that he just hung them all. Murdered them, I mean literally, like 30 to 40 slaves. And this guy thought it was a good idea to buy the house that this happened in. The stuff I be talking about, bro. Now this dude is trying to run for a political position, but obviously nobody wants to vote for this guy because he's a douchebag and he's racist. So he hires a black dude to help him with PR, bro. And they're in the middle of the house. Bro is recording him, trying to teach him how to talk to people, to answer these questions about him being a bigot. And in the middle of them doing this, the guy falls down the stairs, breaks his neck, and dies. Excuse me, sir, and you want to talk about what happened in the house? Well, it was an unfortunate accident, Black boy, trucking and driving, and then he just fell down the stairs, man. And the only spooks that I'm afraid of is, spooky reporters. Now, you need to go inside that house, man. With spirits in there, cuz. You stupid as shit, man. That's why they ain't gonna get your ass, man. I swear to God they is, cuz. You think everything's sweet, man. This ain't diabetes, cuz. So he get in the limo and he driving off, and that creepy doll that the funeral home guy had shown us is in the car with him. That would have been enough for me to get out of that house. I would have never even went back. Now he goes home and he gets to watching. Yo, hold up. That's 3 times. That's 3.5. Yo, what type of machine is that? Is that a VCR? Is that what they look like back then? They look like R2-D2, I ain't gonna lie. Anyways, he looks in the video and he pauses it at the time that the guy falls and realizes that creepy ass doll was there the whole time. Once again, that would have been enough for me, especially when he looked over to the mural and seen that the lady that supposedly bought this place and put all the spirits in these dolls is holding one and it's not there anymore. Yeah, I don't know what his problem is, bro. Then he hears a door knock, he opens it, doesn't see anything, but he hears little footsteps. Like, come on, bro, can you put 2 and 2 together? Are you an idiot? Then he looks and he sees the doll sitting on the step, bro. And it's like, come on, bro. Man, where did your little black ass come from? You think you and these little dogs could scare me out of the house? Man, I didn't kill him. It ain't my fault. You get no reparations, you hear me? This dude get to throwing vases at the dog, bro. You talking to a little dog. You're insane. I mean, there's only two choices. I mean, either you are insane, like I said, or there are so plagued dolls that hate white people in this house. Now, why would you stay? I'm just saying, why would you stay? You tweaking, man, I ain't gonna lie. But we go back in the other room, and at this point, he's looking for this doll, you know, scouring the room, searching for it, when he should be scouring and searching for a way out of the house. Now he gets mad and looks to the moral, talking about, goddamn voodoo bitch. So he starts smacking the wall and, yo, hold up, is it bleeding? So this little ass dude swinging from a chandelier at this point, after he notices that the mural is bleeding, and he swings and starts eating this dude's neck. So obviously he starts attacking this guy, grabs him up and puts him on the dartboard. I'm gonna blow off your little rigger balls. Oh my God, why? Oh my God, why is he shooting it like that? So we go back in the house at this point after shooting him, and there's more dolls missing from the mural. This is what I be talking about. Because why would you even allow this to happen when you could have just left? Seeing the doll in the limousine should have been enough for him. I really don't even understand. Now he calling the little dolls Nicholas and like, come on, bro. That racist pride, man, I'm telling you, made him too prideful to even leave a house. Now the doll done put himself back together at this point, and he running from him. Now he ends up going back to the room and realizes at this point, all the dolls are gone. Oh, you're in trouble. Big trouble. Bro losing his mind. He like, how could it possibly be these dolls? And then he turns around and he sees it. All of them. They're together. So all the dolls go and they attack him. And bro, I ain't gonna lie, they get to chewing them up. Literally eating him alive. And that little black woman, the one that was holding the doll in the first place, she in the room watching it happen. So they're back in the funeral home at this point, obviously, after this dude gets eaten alive. And they in there and they still not understanding the trouble they're in. Man, screw all this Barbie, man. Man, where the drugs at, man? So they end up seeing a guy that they say that they don't know, but they clearly do know in the funeral home in a casket. Now, this dude is crazy, deranged, and in that gang life. And he gets to running around, looking for his ops. And he finds him. Hey, my damn nigga, line me or something, cuz? Fa. Oh my gosh, smoked his ass. So his friends see him and they get to shooting him while he's running to his car. And they catch his ass. But what's up now, Crazy K? Now this dude, Crazy K, ends up getting saved by the cops. They show up at the time that he's about to get killed by these dudes, and the cops blast their ass. Fa. Leave him stinking in the hallway. Now this dude in there hitting sit-ups, bro. Look at this dude, he's a straight jail specimen. And this old lady come up and tell him that he has a chance to get released early if he would consent to behavioral modification. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna let anybody do any type of behavioral modification on me, bro. Because what does that even mean? You about to do some sort of experimentation on me and then you gonna let me out? Man, hell no. So they take him to this crazy ass place, bro. Hold on, the shorties is kind of bad in here. I mean, they white, but they not my type. You feel me? Oh my God, did they got a dude upside down in a bag? What the fuck is that? Anyways, they end up putting him in a cage next to this guy who's clearly a member of the Aryan Brotherhood. Well, look at what we have here. The first soldier in my army, perhaps. Are you a real badass spade, huh? What are you talking about, cuz? Hey, you heard me, man. You gotta be bad to be in a place like this, man. What you went for? Man, murder. You know what I'm on, cuz. Hey, what you afraid of me, boy? Come on over here. Let me show you something. So Crazy K get to leaning over. He get to looking at him. He showed him. Now he tells him that he's a part of the Brotherhood, obviously, like I said, and that they're about to wage war on black people. But they'll spare some black people, the ones that'll help them, and then live their lives as slaves. Sounds like a terrible deal, by the way, but you know how white people think sometimes. Now the old lady is telling him that the reason she put him next to him is she thought that he should meet him. That this is some program that the government paid her to develop to rehabilitate him. Hold on, that little light-skinned shorty in there, bad as shit. Hold up now. Damn. Wait a minute, hold on. Are all these girls black? Yo, I said that they was white earlier, but I think it was just the angles and the fact they was light-skinned. Cause they all kind of fine right now. Yo, did they really got to shave my man head off like this though? I'm just saying, kind of violating him. They got him strapped up and all that. Look like a freak. This look like the beginning to a freaky ass porno. Oh my God, did they just shove a, oh, why they put that in his nose like that? Yo, they putting a crank on this dude's penis? Bro, I ain't gonna lie, if I was him, I would've just took my time, cuz. I see, I don't understand this. How was this supposed to rehabilitate him? They put him in here and they start showing him all of these messed up imageries of people getting hung and black violence. I think that this wouldn't rehabilitate me. This would probably make me insane. You're showing me all the people I'd have murdered, all the things that have happened throughout history and the things that I'm perpetuating. I think it will make me lose my mind. And maybe that was the point. Maybe they're trying to turn him into like a a shell of itself. So they know you won't commit any more crimes. I don't really know. And obviously I can't show all of this on the video. You know, I'll show what I can and censor what I can't. But I really think that this one in particular has a beautiful message. And obviously they're trying to teach us this isn't the way of life. That the things that we do in, you know, modern day life is pretty much diminishing all of the hard work that our black brothers and sisters have done to get us out of the place that we are in. We're never going to be able to prosper or to grow as a people if we can't stop the senseless violence and the anti-black movement. It's too much self-hate in the world. We're out here murdering ourselves. We just got to do better. And I think this is the whole point of this little end story here. Crazy K doing the same thing that the KKK doing. This dude even shot a little girl, bro, because of his violence. He got hit through a window. Motherfucker talking about a bullet ain't got no name. He don't even care. Now, obviously, he feels like the world is against him. He's talking about the nightmare that he caused, but what about the nightmare I was in? All the people around me put me in and made me like this. But her point is that it's up to him to stop the nightmare, to break the chain, stop the cycle. But bro was not trying to hear that, bro. He got out of that chair and put somebody in a rear naked choke. Well, I ain't gonna lie, shorty's still bad. Bro talking about how he don't give a. Now at this point, they know that he knows that they murdered Crazy K. That's why they knew him. But they want them drugs. So they're not gonna kill the funeral home guy. Not until he gives it to him. And he takes him downstairs. So then I smacked him with the gun and he talking about, whoa. Bro sound like Ric Flair, I ain't gonna lie. Now at this point, he tells them that they're in this casket. And then when they go, they end up seeing themselves in it. Now at this point, they realize that they got killed by some of his mans. And they didn't make it. And that they're not in a funeral home. They are in hell. Bro, they've been in hell this whole time. Kind of crazy when you think about it, but I mean, it makes sense. And just like that, our story is complete. How those crazy gang members killed Crazy K and got killed in retaliation. An endless cycle, hate and black on black crime. That ended with them being on fire and in hell. So basically, just be good human beings. Stop killing each other. Senseless violence is not the answer. And you might not have to go to hell or end up in a funeral home with Clarence Williams III.
Total power grid collapse.
We're coming for you, man. First floor roof is starting to fall in.
It created a humanitarian crisis.
You got the money? Yeah, we got the money, old man.
You get it when we get the shit.
The shit. The shit. Yeah. Follow me. Woo! We gonna get the shit now. Oh yeah, the doo-doo. Sick of following his ass. The poopy-pop. You got the money?
Yeah, we got the money, old man. You get it when we get the shit.